So Jaylen Brown is non-committal about his future with the Boston Celtics. Could the Sixers look to target him in 2024 NBA free agency, or before that make a trade for him? That's what we're talking about on today's Philadelphia 76ers Now. I'm Chase Sr. Hope all of you out there had a fantastic weekend and your weeks are off to a good start as well. So we're going to get to that, but first, some Sixers Nuggets notes for tonight's game on Monday. Joel Embiid not going to play because of that lingering calf issue that took him out early against the Chicago Bulls last week, but James Harden with that Achilles soreness is going to play. Obviously, it's pretty unfortunate we're not going to see Joel Embiid against Nikola Jokic 1-2 in the NBA MVP race. Would have been great to see that head-to-head matchup, to see Joel Embiid give Jokic the business once again like he did at the Wells Fargo Center back several weeks ago. Joel Embiid, look, this is the smart play for him and this team. If he's hurt, Sixers have absolutely no shot in the NBA playoffs. He needs to rest. He has been adding to his workload game in, game out. He went on that historic stretch in which he scored 30-plus points in 10-plus games, a new franchise record. Been playing a ton of minutes and playing, obviously, at an insane level. He was once again over the weekend dominant in that loss against the Golden State Warriors as the Sixers kind of crumbled down the stretch there. Good also against the Phoenix Suns. Both road losses for Philadelphia over the weekend, and both very, very frustrating losses indeed. He did say, though, despite him sitting out Monday night's game, it's the best that he has felt this deep into a season. It's great news for Embiid. This is a guy who has been snake-bitten by a lot of injuries late in the regular season as well as in the NBA playoffs. If he's playing like he's been playing over the last couple of months, the Sixers have a legitimate shot to finally, and I mean finally, make it out of the second round of the NBA playoffs for the first time since 2001. Now to some Jaylen Brown rumors. He is not sure about his future and whether or not it's going to be with the Boston Celtics. This opens up a pretty fascinating conversation among all NBA teams and in NBA league circles. Here's the direct quote about what JB said recently. I don't know. As long as I'm needed, it's not up to me. We'll see how they feel about me over time and feel about them. I feel about them over time. Hopefully, whatever it is, it makes sense. But I will stay where I'm wanted. I will stay where I'm needed and treated correct. I just enjoy the time that you have now. If it's your whole career, it's your whole career. If it's not, it's not. Some of the greatest players of all time have not finished with their organizations. Michael Jordan retired as a Wizard. Now, when I heard the quote, and then I went back and I read the quote, that does not sound like a guy who is for sure about staying in Boston. If that was the case, he'd say, I want to be a Celtic for the rest of my career. I absolutely love it here. We've made it to 4 Eastern Conference championships in my career. I've gotten steadily better. This is one of the most historic organizations in sports history. I want to be a Boston Celtic. He did not definitively said that. Instead, he said, yeah, I'm not really sure what's going to happen in the future. Now, there's some rumblings that, he believes Boston is a difficult city to start your entrepreneurship type of career as a black person. Those are some things that he said. We know that he's very, very active when it comes to social issues. So I do believe that if that's the case, and he said it himself, then maybe that's playing a factor in the success that he envisions himself having off the basketball floor. On the basketball floor, the basketball situation with Boston is obviously ideal. Now, there were questions before the Celtics made it to the NBA Finals last year if Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown were going to work as an on-court pairing. And I guess there are still some questions as to whether or not they will work long-term as a 1-2 punch. But off the court, we've seen these NBA players turn into moguls, right? And start these business lives that have ended with them being very, very successful. And if Jaylen Brown wants to start to venture into that space, like Kevin Durant has done, like LeBron James has done with his multiple production companies, then he could look to go elsewhere. And just think about it, right? Going back to his quote, would you say what he said if you were happy with your current situation with the business that you work for and the company that you're with right now? I absolutely love being here at Chat Sports. I would never say something like that Well, like what JB said, obviously, I think that he's a little bit unhappy and a little bit skeptical about what his future might be with the Boston Celtics. Now, from that, we transition to how the Sixers would be able to acquire him because he's an elite two-way player. And I do believe that you win championships with elite wings and especially two-way players. Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, the list goes on and on and on, right? Throughout the course of NBA history, a lot of wings and a lot of two-way wings have been the ones who at the end of the season are hoisting the Larry O'Brien trophy. You could wait until 2024 NBA free agency or make a trade before that to acquire Jaylen Brown if the Celtics want to get value back for him instead of letting him walk and getting no compensation back. A Sixers trade with the Celtics, it's happened before. Remember? They traded up to take Markelle Fultz. Celtics fleeced Philadelphia, moved back to take Jason Tatum. It's a mistake for the Sixers that we will never get over, considering how good Jason Tatum has been in the mysterious scenario that revolved around that Markelle Fultz shoulder. His college tape at Washington, phenomenal. NBA career, it's been solid, but not good enough for a number one pick and barely played for Philadelphia. If not an NBA free agency for the Sixers, because they'd have to wait not this offseason, but the next offseason, then a trade would have to take place to get him before that. We're talking an NBA blockbuster trade. It would include draft picks, which the Sixers don't really have a lot of until down the road, and players like Tyrese Maxey, maybe a Tobias Harris, something like that. The thought here, though, for Philadelphia is that you win titles with wings and guards, and Jaylen Brown, an elite wing player who is also the absolute antithesis of Ben Simmons. Jaylen Brown, when he came in to the NBA out of Cal, was looked at as an athletic player with a lot of upside, with a lot of potential, whose offensive game was raw, didn't have much of a handle, didn't have much of a shot. Now, you can give him the rock. He can create his own. He can get a bucket from anywhere on the floor. And a guy who had question marks shooting the basketball coming out of Cal has developed into a pretty damn good three-point shooter. He had to work on his craft, grind, get in the lab, and improve. Ben Simmons, he was really athletic with question marks, never put in the necessary work to go from being a good player to a great player, where Jaylen Brown was looked at as a player with potential and upside to a guy who is now bordering on great and has developed year in and year out. JB, 27 years old, points per game in his NBA career, it's increased from his rookie year till now, 6.5 points, 14.5 points, 13.3, 20.3, massive jump right there, 24.7, 23.6, 27 points per game. His three-point attempts as a rookie up until now, it was 1.7, and now it's 7.4. His three-point percentage, rookie season, going all the way up, 34, 39, 34, 38, nearly 40, nearly 36, 34%. And that's with the volume continuing to go up and the three-point numbers staying at a pretty steady clip. That's really impressive growth from Jaylen Brown, and it goes to show you the amount of work that he's put into his game. Another thing that's impressive, also the antithesis of Ben Simmons, him working on his form and him working on his shooting stroke and his free throws. Rookie year, 1.5 free throw attempts per game. Now here, age 26, as he entered the league at 20, free throw attempts up to 5.4. He was a sub 69% free throw shooter as a rookie. Year 2, it went down to 64. Year 3, sub 66. Year 5, 72. Year 6, 76. Year 7, nearly 76. And year 8, nearly 77%. That's a player who has shown some really impressive growth throughout his career. And that's the type of franchise building block that you want to be around. And we're really talking about this under the premise that James Harden were to leave after this year to, let's say, the rumored destination of the Houston Rockets. That clears up a bunch of money for a contract like Jaylen Brown, if you want to bring a player like that in. And you're looking for that co-star next to Joel Embiid if James Harden and Joel Embiid doesn't work out. And I obviously have my doubts because James Harden has consistently come up short in the playoffs. Joel Embiid has never made it out of the second round either. So If James Harden leaves after this year, you got to find that co-star for Joel Embiid. And Jaylen Brown is that type of guy. You would then have a go-to wing who can get his own in Jaylen Brown, and a big in Joel Embiid, who right now is the most dominant player in basketball and should win NBA MVP. And then on the defensive end, JB can lock down pretty much any wing in the NBA. And Joel Embiid can switch. He could protect the rim. And obviously, he's a defensive savant as well. So with that, today's poll question. Should the Sixers go after Jaylen Brown? Y for yes, N for no. Let me know down in the comments section. Let's hope that the Sixers can get back on track with the win without Embiid against the Denver Nuggets. Appreciate all of y'all for watching, and we'll catch you later this week.